Hey guys, welcome to part 16 of my discord.py making a Discord bot in Python YouTube tutorial series. In this video we're going to be going over how to create cogs and I guess what they are. I'll just get that over with quickly right at the beginning. A cog is essentially just a way that you can organize your code. It allows you to split things up within your main bot file, in this case being bot.py. For example, it would let me throw all my events in a different file, all my commands in a different file. Even then I could split up the commands based on something like a category. Like I could have all of my moderation type of commands, I'll have something like ban, kick, clear, things like that a moderator would normally have, set aside from something like more of an entertaining command, like, I don't know, it'll send you a meme or post something in the Discord server, whatever. But it just gives you that extra level of organizational tools that really allows you to clean up your code. And essentially that's what I'm going to show you how to create in this video. It's pretty straightforward. I wouldn't call it too challenging, and it's definitely rather easy to understand. So let's just get right into that. So first of all, to create the cog, we're going to want to create a new file. I'm just going to call this fun.py because it's a Python file, naturally. And first thing we're going to want to do is import Discord. We're going to want to say from discord.ext import commands. And with that being done, we're going to create our class. So class fun. And this is going to be my fun cog, right? Hence the name of the file and the class name. But we're going to initialize it. We're just going to say def init self and client. That's what we're going to be passing into our initialization function. And we're just going to say, self.client is equal to client. And that will essentially give us access to that client variable that we're going to be passing in, which is representative of this client variable that we have in our main bot file. And that'll essentially just allow us to use it in this file here. So I'm going to create two things in this cog. One will be an event to show you how to create those, and one will be a command also to show you how to create those. Let's start with the command. It's just going to be a simple ping command. And instead of using client.commands or bot.commands or whatever you decorated your commands with before in your main bot file, within a cog, you are going to decorate it with commands.command. Yes, rather intuitive decorating, I would say. But yeah, it's just a little bit different. It shouldn't be too hard to remember. Granted, if you make that mistake, just double check that you have those decorators right. But with that being done, we're just going to say async def ping. Now, since we are creating a function within a class, we are going to need to pass in self into our functions or our methods. They're called methods when they're in classes, I believe. Put our colon, and then I'm just going to say await self.client, self.client.say, and again we're using self.client to represent our client because we declared that up here. Self.client.say is equal to pong. Boom. So if you look at this, it's really not too different from the pong or ping command that I created in my older videos. Some minor changes here and there, again with the decorator, with the self, but that's really it. It's not too difficult. But that's our command. That's essentially how you create a command. Now we're going to create an event. I'm just going to put it up here because I like to order everything in the sense that, initialize the client, then events, then command, whatever. You can put it anywhere, but I like to do it this way. So events actually don't need a decorator at all within a cog. So I'm going to be creating async def on message delete, just because I can sort of more explicitly control when that function is called, because it's when I delete a message or have something delete a message, especially considering I'm the only one in my test server. But yeah, so on message delete, pass in self, despite it requiring one parameter of message, since you're creating it in a cog or in a class per se. you need to pass in self. So self and message. And I'm just going to say something like await self.client.send message. And then we'll just say message.channel and message, not dot deleted, and then the dot. And that's essentially it for our class. I've created an event, I've created a command. It's pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy. Granted, we didn't make the hardest functions or methods, again, within the class, but at the end of the day, that's not what I'm here to show you, at least in this video. So now we're going to set up our cog with our client. And yes, setup was a keyword because our function is going to be called setup, def setup. We're going to pass in a client, and we are going to say within the setup function, client.add_cog. Then we're just going to say fun client. So essentially, we are calling the add cog function on the client, and within the cog, within the function, we are creating an instance of our client or our fun class while passing in our client. All right, pretty straightforward. Again, it's only one line of code, but that's it in terms of creating the cog. This is a cog, fully functional. All we have to do now is load it up in our main bot, and it should be working. So let's do that. Let's head on back to our main file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the bot load up all of the extensions. Extensions are cogs, by the way, but again, I'm using those words for a reason. I'm going to load up all of the extensions when the bot is run. So to do that, I'm just going to say if name is equal to main. This if statement right here, if you don't know already, it essentially runs if the bot, or if this file here is the main file. And I'm sort of doing air quotes, but you can't see. The main file meaning it's not being imported or used by another file. It is the main file. I don't know how else to put it. It's the main file. If the name of the file is equal to main, this is one of the variables that Python declares for a file when it's run, and since it is the main file, it will be set to main. All right. For example, a file that wouldn't be set to main when it's run is, let's say I made a file called potato, right? And it had some functions, it had some classes, something like that in there, and I did something like import potato so I could access those functions and classes. Since the potato function is being called by this file, that makes this file the main file, and the name of the potato file will be like potato, quite literally. So yeah, it's not really important. That's not what you're here to learn, but if you were confused, hopefully you're not anymore. If you are, don't worry, just it doesn't even matter. So I'm going to create a list up here, extensions. And I'm going to say for extension in extensions, just like that. And then I'm going to put a little try except block where I'm going to say client.load extension. We're just going to pass in the extension, and then except exception as error. Print, we're just going to print out that, oh no, there was an error. Excuse me. We'll just say cannot be loaded, and then we'll just print an error in some nice square brackets. Format, so extension and error. All right, so it's essentially going to try and load the extensions. If it comes across a problem, it'll just tell us that it couldn't be loaded and why. So that's that. So now, essentially, this would technically work. Oh, we do need to put fun in our extensions list. Technically, you don't need to have sort of an extensions, like an extensions list up here. You could have your bot iterate through its current directory or wherever you're storing your cogs and load them up from there based on, you know, the file names, things like that. and that would probably just automate it a little bit more, but it's a bit more complicated. You'd need to use like the OS module. And if you want a really simplistic way of setting up your cogs, I'd say this is the way to go. But yeah, so this would technically work. It would load up our cog, and we'd get that ping command, and we'd get that onMessage event, or onMessage delete event. But I'm going to give you two more things. I'm going to essentially give you two commands. It'll be a load and unload command. Rather straightforward. You probably already know how to make them. But essentially what they're going to do is allow you to manually load and unload cogs or extensions as you see fit. Right, pretty straightforward, and they're incredibly similar. So we're just going to say, not commands, we're on the main file again. Client.command async def load. We're just going to pass in the extension, and then I'll put another try. Actually, now that I think about it, the code is more or less exactly the same as this. We're going to load the extension, and if there's an error, we'll print the error. Whatever, right? I'll put a little print statement so that we know if, you know, a cog was successfully loaded. So we'll just say loaded that, or the extension, right? And unload is so incredibly similar that it's just like that. So we'll just change this to unload. We'll change this to unload. We'll change this to unloaded. And we'll change this to unloaded. So what do we have here? Or what have we done in this file and this file in this video entirely? So what we did is we created a list of our extensions, right? Where we had to manually put that in. Again, I did tell you you can automate it, or not automate it, but allow your bot to check for you which commands you, or which extensions you have. But again, we didn't do any of that in this video. We did it manually. So we created our list of extensions. We created a command that allows us to manually load extensions. We created a command that allows us to manually unload extensions. We also had it so that all of our extensions that we have specified within this extensions list will be not manually, but automatically loaded when the bot is turned on, you know, when you run the file. And then we created our cog in here, and I've essentially just showed you how to create commands within a cog and how to create events within a cog. Pretty straightforward. Oh, and how to add the cog to the client. So it's pretty straightforward stuff. Let's run the bot now. Hopefully we don't get any errors. Bot online. All right, so we're here. I'll move this over here so we can read the console. Whoops. And just put this down here. So if we type .help, as you can see, we have our fun category, or our fun cog, and the ping command is showing up. Because if you go back here, excuse me again, I just burped twice. We iterated through all of our extensions, and again, we loaded them up as soon as the bot was run initially, right? So oh, that's not what I wanted. If we try to use the ping command, it should work, and it does. However, we can unload it. If we unload the fun module, as you can see in the console, unloaded fun. If I were to type .ping, it's giving me the error command ping not found. However, I can manually load it back up again with our load function. So load fun. As you can see, it said loaded fun. If I tried to do something like load potato, it says potato can't be loaded because there's no module named potato, right? But since fun is loaded, if I use help again, you can see the ping command is still there. Actually, I didn't even show you. If fun is unloaded and you were to type help, your ping command doesn't even show up, nor does the cog, right? So let's load it back up, and we'll try ping again. Pong. Perfect. So our cog is working, I guess, at least the command. Let's test out our event. So if I were to delete this message deleted, right? There's no errors, no nothing. It worked perfectly. And that's essentially it for cogs. Pretty straightforward stuff. Again, it just lets you organize your code in a way that I guess wasn't previously available. I mean, in a way it was. I guess you could have imported, you know, modules and things like that, but it just becomes a hassle. You'd have to send variables over there, like your client variable, and then you'd have to, return whatever. Don't even get me started. I've seen videos where people have tried that. I mean, I guess it's technically possible, but this is just so much easier. And it's all through Discord PY, meaning it's sort of the official way to do it anyways. But yeah, that's Cogs. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, comment future video suggestions. Oh yeah, I'd like to comment on that. I've seen a lot of good video suggestions. I've seen things like currency. I've seen things like, actually no, that's sort of the main one, currency. Oh, permissions. I've seen things like that. Yeah. If I'm not going to make a video on them, and for those two, I don't think I will, it's because I feel either that they're too simplistic, or that I guess the code in my previous videos could be manipulated to sort of create the systems that you're asking for. Like for permissions, you could honestly just read the documentation and you'll figure it out. It's like 2 lines of code. And I say permissions in the sense that, you don't want people to use a command unless they have X role, or if you don't want people to use a command unless they have managed messages, things like that. I've gotten a lot of those comments, a lot of those people asking on my Discord server. But yeah, those things are incredibly easy. If there's smaller problems like that, you can join the Discord server. I'll have the link in the description to an invite link. You can join there, ask there. Me or someone else will help you out. Or just read the docs. It's pretty easy. And for currency, just to address that, my level system video can be easily manipulated to add in currency. And since I feel they're too similar, I probably won't make a video on it. If there's enough people asking, I will. I mean, why not, right? But right now, I don't think I will be. But if enough people persuade me, then maybe I will. But yeah, that's the end of that. Oh, and yeah, definitely join that Discord if you haven't already. I'm almost always there because I sit at my computer all day. I'm a comp sci student, so yeah, I'll be there to help you if you need it. If not, there's 100 people in there. Granted, not everyone knows the answers, but I'm willing to bet at least someone there does, or can at least point you in the right direction. So there's that resource on top of the discord.py, the docs, other YouTube channels, whatever, right? You guys have so many ways of learning now. It's crazy. But again, that's the end of the video. I kind of rambled a little too much. So like, comment, subscribe, whatever the heck YouTubers say. That's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one. Bye.